Hey Eurovision fans, it's time for another Eurovision news update. Today's top stories: we've just got the results of the OGAE Second Chance contest. There's a big debate going on amongst Euro fans about Autotune, and I've got lots of news for you about national finals including Finland, Netherlands and Denmark. So let's kiki. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all of this stuff on my channel. So before we start, a quick update on my channel. I'm still working on my What's Wrong with Ireland video. Those type of videos take a lot longer to make, which is why it takes a while. In the meantime, I wanted to put out a video, so I'm doing this because they're much quicker and easier to do. Also, in case you didn't know, I've started putting my reaction videos onto my Patreon with the original audio. Copyright is just an absolute nightmare. Everything gets copyrighted nowadays. I haven't yet made a decision for the 2024 season what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to still try and distort the audio to get by copyright. This is currently my only source of income, so I currently can't lose that revenue stream. But yeah, I haven't made a decision yet about 2024. In the meantime though, any reaction video that I put up on this main channel, the original version will go onto my Patreon, so go check that out. So as always, I have marched through the mud of social media to bring you all of the latest Eurovision news and gossip. And first of all, we're going to start off with the OGAE Second Chance contest, which happened last night. So in case you don't know, OGAE is the fan clubs for Eurovision, and they also organize the ticket packages for the Eurovision Song Contest. And this Second Chance contest is something that they invented to kind of pass the time in the off season, where any country who has a national final can pick a song that wasn't selected to go to Eurovision and enter that in. It's like a second chance for other great songs in national finals to compete against each other, and then all the OGAE clubs vote for that, give out points and pick a winner. As always, Sweden won. Sweden do tend to win it quite a lot. In fact, I haven't verified these numbers, but Hotel Azido has put up that Sweden have won it 18 times, Norway 4 times, Italy and Spain thrice, Denmark twice, and then Finland, Slovenia, France, Iceland, Turkey, Poland, Netherlands 1 time. So not exactly like a large spread of who wins. I think if those were the actual amounts of times that people have won Eurovision, I think that Sweden would get even more slack than they already do. So yeah, the general reaction to this was a little bit lukewarm. There's lots of people who don't particularly enjoy how successful Sweden are in Eurovision. I gotta be honest, I gave my 12 points to Sweden. I thought that was the best song out of all the ones that were submitted. Air by Marcus and Martinez, who are Norwegian, so technically it was a Norwegian 1-2 because Ulrika came second. Yeah, I thought their song was great. I thought their staging was super cool as well. So, you know, I don't know, other people should just up their game. That's always my reaction when people start ragging on Sweden for being too good. Okay, everyone else get better then. That's the way to do it, instead of dragging Sweden down. Overall, the show was fine. It was definitely not short on some slightly cringy moments. I don't know why, but when they were flashing up the scores, it was very quick. They announced the 12 and then you had like half a millisecond to see who got all the points. The voting went very, very quickly, despite the fact I would argue that was probably the most interesting bit. And then they had lots of bits where they're doing like karaoke with people in the audience, which was a little bit on the cringy side, and they had some comedy sketches as well. So look, fair play to them for putting it on at all. They don't have to put it on, and they did make a show. But yeah, overall I thought it was fun. I actually thought the 2 hosts were very good. Anyway, they're going to be hosting again next year because Sweden have won it again for 18th times. Keep in mind there are a lot of countries who don't enter if you don't have a national final. So countries like Australia, Austria, Cyprus, Switzerland this year, who all internally selected, they aren't in it. So there are only 23 countries out of the 27 from this year. Okay, our next story, we have more drama coming from the Euro Trip podcast. They did an interview with Stig Karlsson, who is the Norwegian head of delegation, who is also probably one of the most controversial people in the Eurovision community right now. And he was talking about Autotune, how he thinks that eventually Eurovision is going to have to start introducing Autotune. Stig was also talking about how they use it on MGP, the Norwegian national finals. The Autotune topic seems to be something very controversial. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of it. I'd like to know from like an expert insider, how prevalent is Autotune in the music industry? Because if it's the industry standard, I do see the argument for introducing it into Eurovision, because if it already exists, maybe Eurovision just needs to stay with the times and include it. Now, I don't want them to have like full dial crazy Autotune with like chipmunk voices and Cher, that thing that Cher did in Belief. So I do think there's like maybe a limit they can set in how much it's done. But me personally, for example, Denmark this year, breaking my heart, I didn't enjoy watching him struggle vocally and the whole performance just kind of flop because he wasn't able to sing it. I don't find that entertaining to watch. someone be embarrassed or have their career damaged. You know, some people say, okay, we'll send better singers, but I don't want to be turning away good songs just because someone's not that good of a singer, especially if there is actually software that could help the person make it passable. I don't think Autotune is going to turn you into a Lika from Estonia. At the end of the day, there's no amount of Autotune craziness that you can add onto Riley to make him sound as good as Alika. She's still going to stand out for being an exceptional vocalist, incredible. People are going to be able to work that out. I don't think Autotune turns you into Adele. I just think it gets rid of like vocal shakiness, which kind of ruins and muddies the performance a little bit. I don't want to be in a situation where we're excluding people because of singing capability. You know, Jedward weren't great singers either. I thought that they did an amazing show. I think that singing is important and I think it's rewarded, but I don't want a singing contest. If I wanted that, I would go watch The Voice, which is explicitly about your voice and how good you are at singing and your performance. So there are shows that cater to this. For me, it's a full package. The singing is part of it, but I also want to hear what the song sounds like and the staging concept and the ideas, and I don't want to see someone epically fail. But what do you think? Are you for or against Autotune? Do you think it's inevitable that it's added to the contest? And if so, do you think an upper limit on how much it's used should be set? Okay, let's go to some national final news, and first up is UMK, the Finnish national final. So their head of delegation has said that the 7 songs that they've picked for this year are the best songs that the jury have ever had, which is extremely exciting when you consider how good the average was last year. This kind of makes sense to me though, with all the success that Gary has had this year, blowing up, touring, great record sales, becoming a superstar, getting a Merle. It's not surprising that a lot of other Finnish artists who maybe are contemporaries of him or know him are like, whoa, this is such a good opportunity, and they're putting themselves forward and it's getting really, really competitive. So the tickets for UMK have already gone out. They sold out. I think they sold out in an hour. Don't worry, your boy got a ticket. I was there refreshing, mashing the keyboard until my finger became a stump. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to go, but at least I have my ticket so that it's possible. And it would actually be my first ever national final. I've never been to a national final before, even though I've been to Eurovision 4 or 5 times, I think. I've never been to any national final, even in Ireland. So I'm really excited about the prospect of my first one. And the head of delegation also released their little previews of the songs, which they did last year, which I think is a really exciting way to hype up the contest. So we're going to go through the 7 of them, and some people were speculating about who it could be. A talented artist's first 90s style dance song. Okay, so kind of like Dua Lipa, dancey sound. A power song by a true vocal talent. Okay, so we're going to get a like ballad, strong song, kind of like Lysandra this year. Perhaps the best song of an indie favorite's career. So that's cool. We're getting in already. We've got like a pop disco, we've got a power ballad, and now we're into an indie song. And some people are saying this could be Maus te Titot, which I definitely said wrong. Sorry, I'm not gonna kill myself trying to pronounce it correctly because it's a rumor. If they actually are on the show, I promise you I will learn their name. The 4th one, 2 big name performers doing a surprising duo with a serious refrain. So 2 big artists coming together. Maybe that's like Robin Paquelin coming together with someone else, teaming up for like double impact. A thunderous rock anthem by a world touring band. So cool, we've already got 4 genres out of 5 songs. That's incredible. I was thinking maybe that could be Portium Boys, who were in last year, who came second, who knows. Number 6, a seriously intense song from one of the most listened to artists in Finland. Some people saying that this could be Behm, B-E-H-M, who I believe she had a #1 song for 10 weeks in Finland. But yeah, seriously intense, that could be like a ballad, or it could be like, I would say Cha 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 was quite intense. Not necessarily, it could be something a little bit different, but again, really, really exciting description. And then finally, a hard-hitting club banger by a well-known artist making a comeback. So again, we've got 6 different genres of songs out of 7. Absolutely incredible. Now, some people saying this could be Erika Wikman or Sara Alto because of the comeback. It's not clear whether it's a comeback to the contest, as in a returning artist, or if it's a comeback because like someone was cancelled for whatever reason and this is their comeback into society. In any case, like those 7 descriptions are really exciting. So all the songs are going to be released between 11th and 19th of January. We're going to get 1 song a day. I presume there's going to be like a gap in the middle or something, because 11th to 19th of January is actually 9 days. So I presume maybe we get 3, gap 2, gap 2. But yeah, I'm really excited to potentially go to UMK. My dream national finals that I want to go to are UMK, Pesma za Eurovision in Serbia, and MGP in Norway. I do want to go to Melodifestivalen as well, but I think in recent years Melodifestivalen has had like really strong songs at the top, and then everything else feels kind of a bit meh and bland, whereas I think like UMK, MGP and Pesma za Eurovision has like a more consistent slope downwards as opposed to Melfest, which is like brr. We've got some news on the Netherlands national finals. So they've had over 600 songs submitted. We now know that Douw Bob was bluffing and did submit a song for himself. He also submitted a song for an artist called Numidia, and he was saying that if it was him versus her in the finale, he would step back to let her go forward. So maybe he's more confident in that song. So Netherlands have been doing an internal selection since 2013, and they have a new head of delegation, which is Twan van de... I can't say his surname. Let's just call him Twan the man. And yeah, like he's a dream head of delegation. He was the executive producer on the 2021 edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. So he really knows what's going on and what's possible, what works, what are all the little things that delegations are doing. He's got like all the inside knowledge that is just a dream come true. So a decision will be made in mid-December about which song they're going to pick. Me personally, I still think that Netherlands are like super red hot right now. I know they had a little bit of a blip last year, but it looks like they've learned from that. They're going to make some adjustments. I still think if you look at the interest in Netherlands right now from the public and from artists, there are a lot of big artists clamoring to represent. And if you ask me what is the single biggest recipe for success and winning Eurovision, it is a lot of high quality artists competing with each other to participate for your country. Sweden, Italy, Ukraine, the last 3 winners. That's how I describe their national finals. I think another win for Netherlands is coming pretty soon. Also, their song in Junior Eurovision this year is a frickin' bop. You need to check it out. I already did a reaction to that. Some quick news about the German national final. They've extended their deadline until October 15th, and this is apparently due to popular demand. So whereas the Irish extension that I talked about in the last episode was just an extension, we don't know why, we possibly presume the worst. With the German one, they're given a reason. They're saying people asked for it to be extended. Maybe they were still working on a song. Maybe a big name said, I need 1 more week to really get this right. I want to make some changes, something like that. Is it true or not? Who knows? But we just got to believe what they say. And speaking of Ireland, there was a tweet by CMAT, who is a really established artist in Ireland. She's had a #1 album last year, and her album won Album of the Year. That's pretty damn good. She was asked would she ever represent Eurovision, and she replied and said, I would love, in caps, to do Eurovision, but to be honest right now, I don't like the way that Ireland structures, funds, controls the Eurosong competition, and would absolutely need full creative control. Not looking like any of that will happen anytime soon, but hopefully in the future, heart emoji. Now, I replied to this, but I said, have you reached out to Michael Keeley, who is the Irish head of delegation? I think there's definitely the potential for them to internally select a #1 selling artist like you. That way you would entirely bypass the Eurovision, the Eurosong contest. I'm sure that you could negotiate creative freedom as Ryan O'Shaughnessy did in 2018. So you may know that Ryan O'Shaughnessy was asked to get into a birthday cake for his staging for Together, and he refused, and he had creative freedom. So in the end, he was able to make demands and get them, which was the staging that we ended up with, which was very popular. Hopefully she sees that tweet and gets a song in, because the submission period is still open. I haven't seen anything that I remember that says definitively that Ireland will have Eurosong again. I think if they got a big enough artist with a great song, I think that Ireland could potentially internally select. But yeah, they would need to have something like very obviously the best in order to do that. And finally, for national final news, we have about Denmark. So apparently they've got a new strategy in Eurovision, and that involves including international experts. So very groundbreaking. They're the first people to do that. They're also going to put the show into a smaller arena. I don't really see how that's an improvement, but apparently that's what they're doing. They're going to stick with 8 songs, which we've had for the last 3 editions. And I'm not sure if this is just a bad translation from Wee Wee Blogs, or whether this was actually said. There will be a stronger focus on selecting entries that have the possibility of doing well at Eurovision. So I would have thought that was slightly obvious. I don't know what other criteria you were using in the past, but yes, picking songs that will do well at Eurovision is good for a Eurovision picking song event. Hopefully that's just a bad translation. Look, I think any inclination of a change to the Danish national final is good. I think their final lately has been so messy. I watched it last year. I had no idea what was going on. I was furiously on Twitter messaging all my Danish mutuals saying, what the hell is going on? And even they were like, we don't know what's going on. This is wild, crazy, confusing. It's just not a good national final right now, and it needs to be improved. Also, anytime a good song is entered, it gets given a bad running order or it doesn't get picked. So it's just like the whole experience is very frustrating. So maybe bringing in some international jury members, whether they actually get to give points or just get to advise, they can maybe tell Danish people like, no, actually that sucks. This is the better song. So we also have some news from Austria. Eberhard Forcher, which is a great name, who is one of Austria's broadcasters' Eurovision scouts, has said that the artist will be announced no later than the end of December. And they've also said that they're going to take all the songs that were submitted, narrow it down to 15, and ask the artist to send in like a video clip to the judges. So that's really cool to get like an insight into the system that they're using. They kind of like whittle it down to a short list, ask for some like visual input, and then they can make a more informed decision. So that's cool to see that's how they do it. But one of the main things I took from this is that the Austrian broadcaster has a talent scout. So they actually have someone who's paid on their team to look for artists and songs. If we contrast that to the Irish delegation, where you have Michael Keeley working all on his own part-time because he's other things he needs to work on and he's having to do everything, it just shows you that one of the struggles with Ireland is that we just do not have an adequate enough sized team. Austria's got 2 scouts as well as their head of delegation looking for songs. So yeah, like it's just much more difficult if you're having to do multiple people's jobs. And now to give an update on participating countries, I think that we might be getting the official list next week. I think it's either October 11th, 13th or 15th. I think it's an odd number in the middle of October. But the Eurovision Discord account on Twitter is saying that they've heard rumors that Montenegro is out. So that's not confirmed yet, not set in stone, but this is a story that's being floated around in the Montenegrin media. So very sad if we do end up losing Montenegro. Okay, if you're looking for something fun to do, I found this Eurovision quiz on Twitter. So one of my mutuals shared it. It is really cool. It's this grid and it's a logic puzzle using Eurovision clues. It's really, really super fun. It does take quite a while to do, like between 1 and 2.5 hours, depending on how Eurovision savvy you are. But I really, really enjoyed doing this. You need a pen and paper to write stuff down. I'll leave a link for that in the description if you want to check out that quiz. It's a really great way to pass some of the Eurovision off season. And then continuing my Eurovision art, I didn't do any super exciting tutorials recently. One of my tutorials, I made this Spider-Man, which has just got nothing to do with Eurovision. I don't know how I could have made that Eurovision. And then also I made this eagle logo, which I suppose I could probably make into like Solvay or something like that. But hopefully I'll get some more Eurovision digital art out to you soon. No new donations on Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal, but if you do want to support the channel, I will leave links for you in the description. And of course, thank you so much to all my patrons who support me on Patreon and are trying to keep me fed and housed. Don't forget, you can see original audio reactions on my Patreon channel. I'll leave a link for that in the pinned comment. But as always, thank you so much just for watching my channel. Okay, that's all the news that we've got for today. I hope to see you on another Eurovision news update very soon. Goodbye.